before. It's great to have all of you here. Nice full crowd, it's always good to see. Tonight's open mic is being hosted by Ryan Burmester. He hosted our first open mic, so it's good to have him back. So settle in for some laughs. We'll also have a lot of great participants. I was taking a sneak peek at the sign-up sheets. It looks like we've got some fun talent tonight and a little bit different. We've finally got some music I'm excited about. So good to have all of you here, and without further ado, I will turn it over to Ryan.
All right, can everyone hear this? Is this loud enough? Does it need to be louder? No. Okay, good. Just a little bit louder? Okay. There we go. All right, I don't want to make the neighbors upset. The neighbors are the barber. They're not people you want to startle in the middle of their jobs. Cool, but thank you for coming out. See, we got a bunch of you on here. If I mispronounce your name, don't hold it against me. I think I realize I'm really bad at reading, which is a shame considering I'm here all the time. Lots of good media that I'm very bad at understanding. It's a shame too. Oh, hello. I've never had a heckler rush me with a potato top before. It's new. It's also weird being able to see everyone. Normally at the places I perform, the lights are dark. So it's nice to see that there are actually people here in front of me. It's a shame too, Alicia lost her voice. There was one time I was in theater in high school, and we had our big winter play, right? Rehearse, and we do 3 performances the night of. Well, of course, that day I lost my voice completely, no voice at all. So we're trying to figure out what to do. You know, we want a big program or anything. We didn't have understudies. So the solution we came up with was the director would scream my lines from offside the stage, and I would lip sync the lines. The only problem was I didn't actually memorize the lines. Remember? I mostly just improv them. I knew where the scene had to go. So it made me and him look really bad at the same time. But luckily, I think Alicia and I pulled off her lip sync there a second ago pretty well. So how many folks do we have here? You brought a guitar, right? Just, do you need a direct line in, or are you?
I have a pickup if I need it, but I was just thinking.
Okay, sounds good.
I can project voice.
Apologies, I just scarfed down one of the snickerdoodles back there before I came up. Which, by the way, has anyone got any of the cookies? Yeah, a couple of them? Okay. I always debate here, because I'm here a lot, whether the snickerdoodle is better or the chocolate chip is better. I heard someone whisper snickerdoodle. I would recommend you go and buy both of them, buy several of them. Thank the bookstore for putting this on. Although what are they called? Cookie and cream? The new ones that we got out, the cookie and cream cookies? Yeah, those are pretty good too, someone's got one over here. Tell a little kid finds them. That's gone. Get those microwave too. Just have them throw it in the microwave a couple seconds. That's what I wanted to ask. Okay, so we have a group of people here. Okay. So there's a snack in my family. And I don't know if this is a normal thing or if it's a weird thing, but I made it for a few people and no one else has said they heard about this. I think it was a Depression era snack because no one had any money. But, so you take 2 saltine crackers and you put chocolate frosting in between. And that's a snack. Has anyone heard of this as a snack? Okay, yes, it's a thing. Does anyone, of those of you that raised your hand, how many of you actually like the snack? Well, yeah.
We used to have graham crackers and vanilla icing was that's similar.
Oh, yeah, that was.
Just a big thing of vanilla icing and graham crackers and just.
That might be better, actually, the vanilla.
Cream cheese frosting. Oh, okay.
What was yours? Cream cheese and what?
Like cream cheese frosting and graham crackers.
And graham crackers. So no one's with me on the saltine thing, it's gotta be.
No, that's what I said we were really poor, we had saltines.
Saltines, right? Because you can get 1,000,000 of them for like $1. You can buy them by the pallet right there in Walmart for 32 cents. Yeah, you can get 1,000,000 of them. Oh, let's see, so we got one. And do we have anyone that called and said we need to wait for them or anything? No, so we can actually go down the list? Great. All right, this guy I know has been at least one of these open mics. Have you been to all the open mics we put on? Yeah, I thought so. All right, so Roy Chavez, storyteller, and the title is On My Way to a Healing Ceremony. So let's give a round of applause for Roy Chavez. And you really want stage time, don't you?
Can you guys hear me? Okay, all right. Hello, my name is Roy Chavez. I'm a Navajo Indian born on the Navajo Reservation in New Mexico. I'm a storyteller. I tell stories about my childhood, both the happy times and the struggles of my people in the historical context. The title of my short story, like he said, tonight is On My Way to a Healing Ceremony in a Covered Wagon. Whenever I share my childhood stories to my closest friends, they do not believe that I have lived in the days of the horse and the covered wagon. They make fun of me. Oh no, there he goes again with his Wild West stories, of his Wild West movies, with his wild imagination. They would tease me. It seems only a fantasy these days that anyone would travel in horse and buggy when you're used to seeing fast cars. It was not unusual for me, though, as a child, to ride in a covered wagon or upon a horse as a means of ordinary daily transportation. As Navajos, we were a cohesive people. We looked after each other, especially when someone got sick. We came together as a community and held a healing ceremony to bring our afflicted loved one back to health. We went all out for just one member. This often required traveling far on our horses and covered wagons, often out to the middle of nowhere to hold a healing ritual. According to Navajo religious traditions, these healing ceremonies are a 3-day and 2-night event. It starts out the first day from the patient's home. The second day and night, the ceremony is taken out into a remote area where the ceremony becomes an all-night event. On the third day, the ceremony returns to the home of the patient. Not everyone rode in wagons. One of the most spectacular scenes was men on horses. If you can picture this with me for a moment, horse riders open the ceremony each day by riding to the next location in a line of procession. The holy man or the medicine man, dressed up in native attire with a red bandana around his head, led the way. He carried a long consecrated pole or stick called prayer stick made from a cedar branch. This was decorated with colorful yarn and beads and painted with religious symbols. This procession was an opportunity for the men to show off their horses and their skills in handling them. The horses were of all variety, from yellow palominos, white horses, pinto horses, gray Appaloosas that naturally have white behinds with sprinkled dark dots, to black horses. The riders took the time to meticulously dress up their horses. Each horse was decorated with brilliant, eye-catching beadwork and yarn on its head, neck, and body. Ribbons were also attached to their manes, drawing attention as they flew in the wind. The beautifully woven saddle blankets covered their bodies as this added to the showy decoration of each horse. It was such an awesome sight to behold this line of riders all dressed up in their ceremonial gear coming out from behind a hill, then galloping in unison across the top and down into the valleys and in the front of the picturesque red mesas as they came into their selected spot for the ceremony. Upon arrival, other members in wagons gathered to prepare for the ceremony by building a bonfire out of standing cedar logs, stabilized against each other. Women came together with huge pots to begin cooking their stew and blue corn tortillas. All were welcome to take part in the feast, while the ceremonial participants began chanting, dancing, and praying. Although the ceremonies give the families and friends a chance to get together and socialize, these rituals are taken seriously. Navajos are strict in making sure the prayers, the chants, and songs are all done in a specific way to please the gods. Otherwise, the purpose for the healing is defeated. Example, each song has to be sung in a specific way according to what the Navajos call the way. There's the way of the rainbow, the way of harmony, the way of blessing, the way of healing. Each of these ways have to be performed correctly. Some ceremonies are only done in the summertime when the gods of the rain, thunder, and lightning are summoned. Other ceremonies are performed only during the winter months. So on this particular occasion, it was summer. Amid the mood of seriousness as a child, I found joy that only a child could experience. You see, I knew nothing beyond the barren desert and the scorching sun of the Navajo reservation. I didn't have fancy toys as an example. My toys consisted of images of horses, lambs, and other familiar animals that I formed out of mud and clay. I guess what I'm trying to say is I found joy in the simple things. One of the greatest joys was in riding in the back of a covered wagon to the opening night of the event. My mother had softened the roughness of the ride by laying down a cushy woolly sheepskin on the floor of the wagon. This absorbed the shock of the wooden, creaky wheels of the wagon that wobbled its way over the rough, rugged sagebrush. I remember lying flat on my back, stretching out my arms and legs, looking up at the white vastness of the cloth that covered over the top of the wagon to protect me. I remember the coolness that this experience brought, the coolness of the summer breeze that brought relief from the harsh sunburn that tanned my already darkened skin. It was a relief, a break for one moment from just being away from the daily task of being tough to take on life on the reservation. To me, going to the ceremonies in a covered wagon was such a joyful event. The sun was just setting as we approached the ceremony. The bright colors of orange, red, pink, and purple reflected off of the white covering of the wagon. These colors painted the horizon as darkness started to take over the orange sun rays that brought out the forms of each sagebrush among the red sand over which our horses pulled our wagon. As darkness settled in, the smoke and the embers drifted by, the smell of the burning cedar and the aroma of the food cooking over the fire stirred hunger within me. I looked forward to dipping blue corn bread in a hot soup to satisfy my hunger pangs. The chorus of singing in unison grew louder as we approached the ceremony. Hey, hey, boom, boom, boom. I could hear the drums. I was impatient. All I could think of was how I couldn't wait to see my friends and relatives that I hadn't seen for a while. We were welcomed with friendly embraces as we arrived. Experiencing these ceremonies were cherished memories that today only recur in my dreams at night, and I wake up in the morning with tears in my eyes, reminiscing those happy times. I remember the feeling of family, closeness, love of community, compassion, and appreciating the simple things, and the joy that I found only in attending these ceremonies. Thank you.
Are you still doing those informational series at the library? Or was that the high school? You were doing an informational series somewhere around,
Are you talking to me?
yes, yes.
What did you ask me again?
Are you still doing those information sessions that you were doing?
More information?
Yeah. And where would people go to?
Well, I'll be available afterwards
Cool.
for more information.
Cool. Sounds good, sounds good. Good, and I forgot to say up front, anyone that wants to be added to the list, you can add yourself to the list at any point. Also, we are recording this, so if you want your little bit here on stage, just ask, we can give you that video pretty easily. Let's see here. Are there any other announcements we need to get out before we keep going? No? Is he comfortable there in the car seat now? Yeah. Well, do you know why he kept trying to run after her up here? He was on a mission for something.
Christmas lights.
Christmas lights. Always big on the Christmas lights. Do you have to keep them off the tree then while he tried to pull?
There is no tree right now.
There's no tree right now. That's probably the safer way to do it. You know, it's this time of year you always start seeing the videos crop up on Facebook, YouTube, whatever, cats or dogs or children just pulling every bit of light down. Is our tree up? A kid was in here the other day and accidentally pulled the tree down. He was fine, but it did give us a chance to rearrange the ornaments a little bit. Which I think it ended out well. And don't forget, if you're still looking for Christmas gifts, we have gift cards here. We have like 20,000 books to choose from, something like that. So there's plenty of good stuff. And we have a bunch of stuff from local merchants there in that middle table. A lot of them handmade, one-of-a-kind gifts that you can bring for people. All right, let's get to the next one. Next we have Vera Stalker. Am I saying your name right? Vera, correct?
Yes.
Great. We'll be doing a poem, and the title of the poem is In Memory of Jesse Hamrick. All right, round of applause.
In memory of Jesse Hamrick. In the game of life he played with zeal, Jesse Hamrick, a spirit real, competitive fire with a gentle heart, a true teammate from the start. He lived big and loved even bigger. With passion and joy, he was a giver. In sports, he found his rhythm and rhyme, cherishing moments one step at a time. For his family and friends, he would go great lengths. In his love, he found great strength. Gentle and sweet, yet fierce in his way, a guiding light in the darkest days. Gone too soon, but his legacy stays. In laughter and memory in countless ways. He embraced life, both big and small, forever remembered, cherished by all.
Thank you for sharing. Do you write a lot of poetry?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I've actually came here once with another piece.
Until
Actually,
then.
two pieces.
How do you, okay, so I've never been any good at actually writing stuff out. All the comedy stuff I do around the country and stuff is mostly improvised stuff. So just to get in your head a little bit, how do you just sit and make a thing?
More recently, I find myself making pieces of people who have left my life. So, my last couple poems were about my grandfather who I lost a couple years back. And this one I just recently lost in the summer. So I was able to, just reflect all the memories and what impacts he had on my life. So, and family and friends. So, just starting with the word bubble, what kind of like plotting all the words that you think will work, and then just sitting down and rewording each time and each moment. So just making sure you, as a person, love your story.
Right, okay, so it's less, so do you have a more solid idea of where you want to get to, or do you just kind of let the process get you wherever it goes?
Yeah, wherever it goes, usually, again, I think because when I lose someone or something, I think it just makes it so much powerful because it's in my brain, and so I'm able to speak from the heart, even though I'm not much of a communicator as much, but poetry is
you came up here and read a poem, I'd say you're a communicator,
So I was gonna say that I'm her mom, and I can I say this, Vera?
Sure.
Like, when you talk about not being a communicator, like, this is a kid who grew up with an expressive language disorder and learning disabilities, and she's just knocks it out of the park. So anyone can do what they wanna do if they just feel.
And I say, like, all the time, I'll be at a show, wherever, and people will come up to me afterwards, they'll be like, I could do that, I could go up there and tell jokes, but I'm like, yeah, you probably could, but you won't. That's the difference is, you did. Yeah. All right, next up, Rachel, is your guitar ready?
Yes.
Great.
I don't know if I'm ready.
You don't know if you're ready?
I'm just gonna get my excuses out of the way now. I didn't warm up at all. I came straight here from school.
So you'll be singing Landslide, the Fleetwood Mac
Yes.
song?
Yep.
Well, I will go get some tissues ready, because that song,
I know, it's a song I grew up with, and it meant a lot to me as a child, but children get older. I feel like it hits deeper every time I hear it.
and like, sorry not to preempt you a little too much, but I saw Stevie Nicks last year.
Really?
She opened for Billy Joel at a show, yeah.
Yeah.
And she did Landslide, and she did it in memory of, I'm forgetting her name, the other female singer in
Oh,
Finland.
yeah.
Christine.
Miss Christine.
Yeah, she did it in tribute to her, and I think that was 70,000 people crying in the Kansas City
I can imagine.
stadium for the Chiefs. But so a round of applause for Rachel. Oh yeah, whatever you need to do. You're just gonna stand?
I'm gonna sing it, yeah. It's easier for me.
Sure. Right. There you go.
Fingers are cold. Nothing is sweeter.
That's probably not tall enough.
I don't even know if I need it or not, but.
Let's see what's in there.
Took my love to get down. Climbed a mountain and I turned around. And I saw my reflection in the snow-covered hills. To the landslide walking down. Oh, mirror in the sky was a child within my heart rise up. Can I sail through the changing ocean tides? Can I handle the seasons of my life? Oh, changing, 'cause I built my life around you. But time makes you older, and children get older, and I'm getting older too. I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I built my life around you. But time makes you older, and children get older, and I'm getting older too. Well, I'm getting older too. Take my love, take it down. Ooh, climb a mountain and turn around. And if you see my reflection in snow-covered hills, a landslide will bring it down. If you see my reflection in snow-covered hills, inside bring down. Oh, the landside bring down.
I didn't need the tissues, but it was close. You know, I say CB Nick's open for Billy Joel is more of a like double headlining situation. And it was weird too, because when she was done, I'm like, oh, that's a show. I'm like, oh no, wait, there's still Billy Joel yet to go. And it was cool too, because she's older at this point, so she can't quite hit the high notes she was able to when she was younger. She had the backing singers do those, but outside of that, like, she had every bit of energy up there on stage. It was really impressive to watch her perform. Weirdly, my first interaction with that song was an episode of South Park. I'm like, oh, I shouldn't be feeling sad watching South Park, but that episode, it works. Let's see here. Oh, I will say, by the register, I have a show. So my touring show is called Questionable Advice. It's normally a panel show. It's me. I bring 2 other comics with me, and we take questions from the audience and we give questionable advice back. I'm working on. We should have one in Sterling in February. We're working on getting that the Saturday after Valentine's Day. So if you want to save money and not go out on Valentine's Day, go out the night after dinner and a show for the price of what microwave lobster or whatever places are serving on Valentine's Day, come out to the show. If you scan the QR code on the thing back there, it gets you to the TikTok, the YouTube, the Instagram, or wherever, Facebook, wherever you get your videos, it's up on there so you can kind of get an idea of how the show runs. Maybe not the littlest members of the audience, but past that, we'll be fine. So next up, and we did not do this on purpose with the sign-up sheet, but we have 2 local authors that have signed up to do readings, and their books are going to be available back over there for purchase. The first which will be, again, I'm sorry, but Luann Custer? Kester, Luann Kester. All right, you'll be up first. And you are going to be reading from your book, Hawk's Cry. All right, well, welcome up.
I'll give you a little bit of a background. This is a historical fiction novel based on a battle that took place, This is a historical fiction novel based on a battle that took place between Atwood and Akron. Sand Creek gets all of the attention, but this battle, it's called the Battle of White Butte Creek by the Cheyenne. It's called Summit Springs in history. With that battle, the Arapaho, the Cheyenne, basically the indigenous population in Colorado in 1869 was sent to reservations. So I make up the story of one of the actual participants in that battle, a 15-year-old Cheyenne boy who is credited with being a hero that day, saving a lot of many of the women and children that day. So I'm going to read. Also, what I do is I alternate chapters. I have a contemporary character, and then I have Little Hawk, who was an actual character at the battle. And so I alternate chapters. I'm going to read Little Hawk's last part of Little Hawk's last chapter to you. Little Hawk, wake up. Little Hawk opened his eyes. The sun had hardly risen, and already it was sweltering. The scouting party is ready to leave, his father said. After the horses have watered, take them to the bluffs. Will you ride to the river today? Little Hawk asked. Two Crows goes to the river. Tall Bull wants to cross, perhaps tomorrow. We ride the other direction. You look for soldiers, Little Hawk stated. His father nodded. Dancing Cloud handed Little Hawk some buffalo meat and an empty water pouch. Fill it with cool water from the spring. Little Hawk grabbed his flute, then followed his father to where the horses had been staked during the night. As the warrior rode away, Little Hawk drove the horses to the stream to drink, then filled his pouch from the spring's head. Already sweltering, he splashed cold water over his face and torso, then herded the ponies away from the village to the bluffs above. Slowly, the village awakened, but it was so hot, only a few cooking fires were lit, and the activity remained subdued. The children whirled tops in the shade of the canyon, while the women gathered in small groups to sew and talk. The men sharpened their tomahawks or chopped flint into spearheads. Maybe Black Raven will come to keep me company, Little Hawk thought, swatting a large deer fly away. He looked for Yellow Tree, but he was too far away to locate her among the groups of girls gathered here and there. Sitting down, he pulled out his flute and began to play. He closed his eyes, remembering the previous night and how Yellow Tree had honored him by listening to his music. Thank you, grandfather, he said between melodies, for teaching me to play and giving me my spirit guide. At midday, he ate and drank, then walked amongst the ponies. Little Hawk couldn't believe how hot it was. He looked for the peaks he had seen the night they arrived. Billowy clouds filled a dark blue sky. Rain. Could they cross the river if it rained? Little Hawk looked over the bluff's edge. Fragments of conversation drifted up. He smelled the midday meal. Sitting down and dangling his legs over the edge, he pulled out his flute and began to play. A girl, crouching near the stream below, stood and looked his direction. His fingers tripped over the notes, and his breath caught as she waved to him. It didn't matter how hot it was, or how many deer flies bit him. Little Hawk had never been so happy. He was ready to follow his heart. As the afternoon wore on, a warm breeze began to kick up, twirling dust clouds. The horses became restless, pawing the ground impatiently. "What is it?" Little Hawk asked, one of the ponies patting its rump. Little Hawk watched as a dust cloud sneaked its way across the prairie beyond the village. Grandfather always said the dancing dust clouds brought big rains. Suddenly, the twirling dust was swallowed by a bigger dust cloud. Riders, a returning scouting party? But no sooner had he thought it, fear squeezed the breath from him. Pawnee, and behind them, a charging line of soldiers. Little Hawk ran to the edge of the bluff. "Pawnee, soldiers!" he screamed, but his warning was carried away in the wind. He watched relieved as some of the warriors in camp stood. They heard the approaching horses, but his stomach convulsed as the warriors turned back to what they were doing, and many of the children ran in the direction of the approaching cavalry. "No," he yelled, "we are being attacked." It was a finalist for the Colorado Authors League middle grade book of the year this past year, so I was pretty pleased about that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
And again, if you want to know where the rest of that goes, it is for sale up over there. I'm going to ask you the same question I asked her. Did you have an idea, like a general outline going into what you were going to write, or did you just?
I had to write. I was taking. I'm a retired high school language arts teacher, and I was taking a class called the Colorado Writing Project. And their whole philosophy is that I'm not a teacher, I'm a writer teaching writers. And so as part of the 5-week class, I had to write. And I started out writing about my contemporary character in here, based on my youngest son, would go out. We live right next to the battle site. And he would go and he would look around and search in the canyon. And so I started that. And then I was like, well, now what am I going to do about it? And then I thought, okay, I'm going to make up Little Hawk's story. And all we know about Little Hawk is that what happened that day. And so in the process, I thought at the time when I wrote this, when I started it back in 1994 or 95, I thought it could be taught as part of a Colorado history class, but Colorado history's gone bye. So I wanted to spotlight the battle, the fact that that was the end of the indigenous population in Colorado. They were either sent to Montana or Oklahoma. I wanted to have an opportunity to represent the Cheyenne culture, traditions, and history very accurately. So I really was careful about my research, and so that's how it started. It started out with a chapter based on my youngest son, and then it turned into it's basically a hero's quest. Both boys are sent on quests. My contemporary character finds the saddle of Hawk's Cry's flute in the canyon, and they have a mystical meeting, and so both of them are basically on a hero's quest.
Good. And you said it was a finalist?
It was a finalist for the Colorado Authors League middle grade book of the year because my characters are 12 and 15, so that puts it into the middle grade age group.
I was wondering, okay, so is it written for that age range, or is it
Yeah,
general?
yes, but I've had, I probably have had more adults read it and enjoy it than kids. So.
Good, well, thank you.
Thank you.
And again, you bought a book, right over there.
Support your bookstore.
Yeah. I see you all want to go do it, so limited copies. I saw you had another one back there, the Blarney Stone.
I do. I have, Grand Kiss the Cornerstone. I kind of, I'm not genre specific, so that's my children's picture book. And then I just finished last week, today, so last Thursday I finished a novella in verse on the life of Saint Isidore the Farmer.
Okay.
So I'm starting to send that out to beta readers.
Well, I look forward to your future sci-fi novel.
Oh, no, no.
I mean, we are the town of Philip K. Dick, so. No. All right, so next up, we have another local author who, again, we purchased their book right back there. I'm so sorry if I get your name. Brenda Wildridge?
Wildridge.
Oh, sorry, say it.
Wildrick.
Wildrick. Okay, Brenda Wildrick, come on up here. And you'll be just as reading poems, perfect.
Okay.
I do have to ask, are these your poems or are these other folks?
My mom.
Your poems, perfect.
Sometimes I read other poems, but not too often. A long time ago, I had memorized some works by Dr. Seuss that I performed, and that was a lot of fun. I'll have to do that again sometime. But for today, I will read one from my book. Trying to find some wintry ones. And this one is called Ready to Embrace Winter. I am ready for you now, winter. Now that the dark has come and the cold has come, I no longer dread you. Go ahead, sting my skin and make me shiver. I can't hibernate, can't hide from you. I will go for brisk walks, drink steaming tea. I will find a campfire and stand close to loved ones, share a blanket and sing all the old Christmas carols, even if we've forgotten the words and could never do much more than make a joyful noise. We will sing with the crackling fire and let smoke follow us, watch the sparks rise to meet the stars, search for constellations, whisper love poems to a moon surrounded by a halo of shadows. And this is my other book. It was published about the same time last year. It's actually a coloring book. And so that's kind of fun. I don't know if you can even see it or anything, but I'll read each image has a short haiku kind of poem with it. So this one says, "We're still believing. Many years since angels sang, pray for peace on earth." And I got some newer ones. This one I entered in a local contest through the recreation department, and it was one of the winners, so that's always fun. This is called Road Trip. Vehicles rumble down highways full of quiet contemplation and constant conversation. There is nothing out the windows but shapes. Clouds in the shape of clouds, hay bales shaped like hay bales, moving vans shaped like enormous boxes full of boxes. Boxes crossing boundaries, crossing years, crossing the country, never opened. Once I asked Mother the difference between hay and straw. We were driving past cornfields and she told me about her childhood on her family's farm. The fields outside the car window were tiny sprouts in neat rows. The fields were tall, lush corn stalks. The fields were skinny stalks shredded by hail. The fields were dry stubble after the harvest. But it was not until the fields were sleeping white that we realized we had never spoken the same language. It was not until the fields were sleeping white that we could see the distant patch of ground fenced off, The sign said, never touch the fence with your tongue, the sizzle will shock you. The sign said, you may touch the desolate color of thirst, but it is prickly and you may draw blood. The sign said, the countenance of a cloud may turn dark and menacing with no warning. The sign said, you must not become distracted, even though we seem to be heading in opposite directions. We are all fellow travelers bumbling toward the same destination. Okay, so this one, every year since 2009, I've been doing like a Christmas poem, and I do a drawing for it, and print off copies to give out to people. So I have copies of this. If you're interested, let me know. And my Christmas poems are usually not very Christmassy, but I send them out this time of year, so and I try to put a little Christmas in there. This one's called Questions Emerging from the Shadows. Can peace be made from the rubble of what was once a life? When tragedy piles up by the edges of roads, when it multiplies like cells dividing, who will bury the dead? Who will advocate for justice, for forgiveness, for healing? Will those who've been granted great power bow in awe at the weight of their great responsibility? Are we, the people, taking aim at this concern with a fire hose of prayer, ready to extinguish flaming arrows and rapidly spreading wildfire? When sand is shifting, sifting through our fingers and everything is broken, will we refuse to fear the breaking? If the things we love are swept away, who will we turn to? Who will we trust? Where has truth, our first language, gone? Was she stolen from us? Did we intentionally throw her out with the garbage? Can we recreate connection, even if we must begin again with our most innocent babble, our most sincere smiles? Have there ever been so many hungry, sick, and imprisoned among us, so many unwelcomed strangers in need of kindness and care? Have there ever been so many enemies in need of love? Do stars still twinkle in the eyes of a child? Do candle flames glimmer in the darkest night? Do we still reflect and share the light? Listen to the silence, listen to the music. A choir of angels is still singing. The people walking in darkness have seen a great light. On those living in the land of the shadow of death, a light has dawned. Isaiah 9:2. Okay, this will be the last one for tonight. This one, if you were here last time we had an open mic here, we took notes and tried to kind of write a poem from what other people were saying. And so I worked on that, and so this is what I came up with. This is called Regardless of How It Turns Out. Red-headed children will still wear freckles. They will jump into the ocean and never hide from sunshine. We believe in restoration. We believe tongues will be released. Should we expect to return, or should we reach for our own universe? When will rats stop nibbling on throats and on the eyes of spiders? When will we face the arrogance, the wreckage, the cycle spinning into leather that sticks to legs, in the false reality with no hope of climbing trees? Keep pushing, keep whispering to ghosts of late summer and spiky grass. Keep believing in the wild, the wistful, the wind that weaves autumn into baskets of scarlet yarn. Resist the sticky lies clogging up the mouths and ears of anyone who speaks, anyone who hears, anyone who doesn't. Remain alert. Now is not the time to faint or to flood with tears the dusty halls that have already been gutted. Now is not the time to shiver or to fade or to choke on the odor of decay. Listen to the deepest griefs. Listen to the stories. Thank you.
And I guess I'll ask you the same question. Do you have a goal in mind when you start any of them, or do you just see where your words go?
I try not to really have a plan when I start a poem. Lately I've been doing them where I take a poem that I like that's maybe about a topic that I think I might write about. And then I write lines kind of hit and miss from that poem, and then I leave spaces in between and I write lines in between the lines. And sometimes it's a little bit related to the original poem. Sometimes it has nothing to do with the original poem, but I like to do things like that because I get a surprise then.
A surprise for yourself at the end?
Yeah.
We do here at the bookstore do a writing group. If you want to come with any ideas you have, it'll just be a space. You can come in here, you can write, you can talk to other writers. It's called the Spirited Pins Writing Group. And the next one will be December 20th at 5 o'clock. December 20th, 5 o'clock, we'll have our writing group. Here, we'll have the tables cleared out so you can just kind of float ideas around, write silently on your own, but with others. Might help inspire some stuff, yeah.
What age?
What age?
Yeah, I teach 6th grade writing at Fort Morgan Middle School, and I have a writer who's extraordinary. She just needs every bit of, you know.
Alicia, can you hear me from the office? Is the writers group all ages? Yes, okay, good. We're good. And yeah, bring, as long as they are here to write, yeah. Anything else I need to know? Just bring ideas? No. You're gonna try to speak? Or are we gonna have to do a ventriloquist act for this too?
So it's a collaboration with Mystical Menagerie. So she's the one that runs the writing group, or just the host location. But yeah, it's 5 p.m. on December 20th, and it is every single month. She just has not given me the dates for 2025 yet. So that's the next one I know. It's from 5 till 6. The store is technically closed, so it's a private space to write and talk to other writers. But we do have the coffee bar still open, so if you need caffeine to fuel your writing, we have that available. So.
Don't go anywhere. Can anyone look at her shirt? I like the shirt. Is Frankie out?
Behind the counter.
Hi, behind the counter. So before you guys leave, if you want to say hi to Frankie, he's back there. Oh, there he is. Hello. Little dog. All right, next we have Kate Daniels. Lady, hello. And me reading poetry. So, round of applause for Kate.
Hi, this is nerve-wracking. This is my first time actually voicing out my writing, so I don't know if it's a poem. I said it was a poem, but we shall see. Okay. In the blissful night, the strange wind calls. Holding on to reality, the sky begins to wave. A strange light will appear, tricking the eye. Screams pierce the eardrums. Silent whispers prey upon the desolate child. What madness this earth becomes. The haunting images of the past cripple the mind, saying, what a weird concept. A concept unbeknownst to me. Lingering in the cold, waiting for a heartbeat. Silence is all that is waiting, that all is wanted, but too much to handle. A bird will sing and all is waning. To be free as a bird is all the soul desires. Hope is cusped in the hand of a transaction, waiting for the demon to take hold. This demon who wants nothing but to stop the happiness from one's own smile. but all is the same, to want is to hate. The bickering between voices surely will break the spine. Ego will be tested. Another transaction will have to be made. Calmness for the fire. People dare to say they want the fire, but cry for help once burned. Being burnt is all I know. But now that the water is flowing, healing my wounds, all I do is scream for the flame. Oh, stop this madness that consumes my soul like a newborn babe. Voices mocking this transaction, hoping I stay to the flame. But the heart will win, overcome the madness in the brain.
You said that was your first time vocalizing?
Yeah.
You did good. You did good. That's always the most nerve-wracking part,
Yeah.
doing it in front of people for the first time. I always tell people that too when they ask, after shows, oh, how do I do comedy? How are you not scared to do all those sort of things? Sometimes you just got to go up that first time. That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
After that, it becomes so much easier. So next open mic,
Okay.
you better be here. Okay. Let's see. Megan Martyr? Am I saying your name correctly?
You are.
Okay, good. I got a name right. Yay. Okay. Also, poetry.
Also poetry.
Also poetry. Cool.
Yep.
So round of applause.
Hello. Okay, so I happened to find that I had written a Christmas-themed poem, so I figured there's no more appropriate time. It's called Christmas is All About. The preparation, the anticipation, the memories. I remember helping Mom decorate the tree, drizzling chocolate on the pretzels, practicing Christmas songs on the piano, wrapping Dad's gift for Mom, driving with Mom to the Christmas lights, practicing our lines for the Christmas play at church, shaking my presents under the tree to better conjure the image of the gift inside, hoping for snow, devouring sugar-coated Grebel from Grandma. That time Grandpa gave me coal with a mischievous grin and those plaid pajamas. The looking forward, the preparation, the Christmas season is oh so sweet. And then this one is called Finding Rest. When satisfaction cannot be found, it requires a change of pace, slowing down and letting the tears fall where they may. Then comes the calm after the storm. You get microscopic, so the grand scheme cannot be seen or felt, cannot overwhelm. Instead, zoom in to the lovely smell of your tea, the warm, furry body of your dog as she opens like a roly-poly for a belly rub, the softness of your sweatshirt. And so, you create a tiny space for hope.
I gotta ask, is that any fancy kind of notebook, or is that just a normal notebook?
It's not fancy.
Not fancy?
No, I'm pretty sure I got it at Target.
I got one of those fancy moleskin notebooks a few years ago, and I haven't written in it because I'm afraid to.
Yeah, it's like too much pressure
It's
when
too-
they're really nice.
It's a lot of pressure to put anything in one of those. I guess I forgot to ask you, so I guess this is for either of you. Do either of you have any, processes or tips or anything that we haven't heard from the previous authors?
I don't think so. For poetry, it's kind of fly by the seat of my pants. I'm also trying to work on some fiction things that need edited. Those I found I need a lot of structure actually, so I do a really detailed outline that I got from NaNoWriMo's website. I usually have some scenes in my brain, but usually no idea where the story is going.
Good. And again, writers group, Cindy Blaney. So, all right. I believe we have one final act, unless anyone wants to sign up, come see me immediately after I say this. I'm gonna say final, but maybe one of you will get. All right, we got Lindy Sexton. What?
Sydney.
Sydney Sexton. Well, something different. We got poetry. So, this is good. I'd rather poets than. I'm used to comedy open mics. I'm used to hearing bad jokes for hours. So this is much welcome. So, hey, give a round of applause.
This is called The Human Condition. There's something they never tell you about growing up, that it's normal. We're so obsessed with our incessant need to be different. The typical experiences are boiled down to disorder, dysfunction. What if I told you that it's all normal? It's normal to have bad days. It's normal to feel out of control sometimes. It's all normal. My dad called it the human condition. The things in our lives that we blow so far out of proportion. The things we can't help but feel passionate about. We take all of these things and we place them high above one simple fact. We are not alone. No experience is wholly unique. Yes, each moment of your life is different than your neighbor in many, many minuscule ways. Enough ways to make it seem imposingly different. But truth be told, it's all normal. We've all been there. Living is the human condition, and we are not alone in our feelings, and our fears, and our hopes. And once we realize that, it's not so hard anymore. We find peace in our human condition. We find wisdom in our neighbors. We find community through the hard parts. This is the human condition, the human connection, and it's beautiful.
Thank you. Did anyone want to come up here? Yes, we know them. All right. I knew if I pressured the audience enough, someone would come up here.
You know, I look like I'm going skiing, but I'm always cold, I can't. I'm cold everywhere.
The second it dips below 50, I'm in the Carol into
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be happy again in June. I could pretend I wrote this poem, but the minute I started, you go, no, you didn't write that. I've heard that before. It's printed in the front of the book that I'm reading for another book club. I heard the bells on Christmas Day, their old familiar carols play, and wild and sweet the words repeated, peace on earth, goodwill to men. And thought how, as the day had come, the belfries of all Christendom had rolled along the unbroken song of peace on earth, goodwill to men. Till ringing, singing on its way, the world revolved from night to day, a voice, a chime, a chant sublime of peace on earth, goodwill to men. Then from each black accursed mouth, the cannon thundered in the south, and with the sound the carols drowned of peace on earth, goodwill to men. It was as if an earthquake rent the hearthstones of a continent and made forlorn the house that was born of peace on earth, goodwill to men. And in despair I bowed my head. There is no peace on earth, I said, for hate is strong and mocks the song of peace on earth, goodwill to men. Then pealed the bells, loud and deep. God is not dead, nor doth he sleep. The wrong shall fail, the right prevail, with peace on earth, goodwill to men. Christmas Bells by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow.
if you were to pretend that you wrote that, what writing tips would you have for us?
Write what you feel.
Write what you feel. Good, good. All right. Anyone else? Anyone have any questions? Huh? All right, Lisa, you said you had some final announcements to make then. My final announcement is buy more snickerdoodles than my dad every Christmas. How many do you pack for him for his Christmas gift? 2 dozen? Yeah, it's the only thing he wants every year. Right, so. You're not that short.
All right. First of all, thank you all so much for coming. We really appreciate seeing the turnout and all the participants and everybody who's here to support our lovely participants. We have had such an amazing turnout for all of these open mics this year. We did them quarterly. And we are very excited to announce that for 2025, they will be monthly. So we'll be having it once a month. And since you guys are here, you get first vote, I suppose. We're either going to do them on the second Thursday, which would be tonight, or on the fourth Wednesday. So if you have a preference, I'm going to ask, raise your hand for second Thursday. Okay, and fourth Wednesday. How are you voting? Okay, perfect. So it seems like second Thursday. I'm going to be putting a post up on our Facebook page. So if you have strong feelings one way or another, feel free to comment on there. And then I wanted to check and see if anyone had any strong feelings about doing an online sign up before you get here, or if we're okay with at the door. Any preferences?
At the door.
At the door. Everybody likes at the door. Perfect. Awesome. That's easier for me. Cool. So, like I said, we're going to do them once a month. I don't know if we're going to do one in January, but it's definitely starting in February. It'll be once a month for 2025. Keep an eye on our Facebook page. And as always, it's open to literally anything. So if you know somebody that wants to come and play guitar, or do poetry, or read from their book, or do comedy, or try and do comedy.
I have a drum set in the basement. I can bring that.
8 minutes, you get to do whatever you want. It does not matter. So if you have somebody that you think would enjoy it, invite them to come, and feel free to invite people just to come and watch as well. And if you did not know, we do have a YouTube channel, and that is where this open mic will be posted for prosperity. That's not it. Posterity, not posterity. No, posterity. I lost my voice. I also lost my mind, apparently. But yes, as always, if you enjoyed your open mic, hopefully we'll see you next time. Thank you so much.
I forgot to do one more thing. Sorry, just do applause. One more thing. So like I said earlier, I have my cards with the QR code back there. Even if you don't ever look at the page, the Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever, simply liking the page will help me a lot with bookings next year. Comedy clubs, the places I'm trying to get to next year, they look at that stuff. And those numbers do make a difference to them. So if you'd like to give those a like, and as well as the YouTube and the... Do we have a TikTok? We do have a TikTok. The bookstore does have a TikTok.
Don't bother liking that.
People like the TikTok
I
stuff.
don't post on that.
I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. One more. Support your local authors. We have their books in the back.
And the snickerdoodles are very good. Okay, goodbye.